Okay, so the first few of these. Just let's make sure that this is indeed recording. It is. Okay. All right. The base here. Where do bases live? Immediately to the left of the exponent. Since there's brackets, everything inside the brackets is included, so it is -7. Okay? Any questions? No. The base is anything that is left of an exponent. So I find an exponent, I look to the left. Whatever is there is the base. But because there's brackets, the base is everything inside those brackets, including the negative. Okay? Now, Tasha, if it was this, no brackets, then the base is only the 7. Okay?
Only the 7?
Only the 7. If it was this, 7A5, the base is only A. But if it's this, it's 7A. Okay?
So anything within the brackets is the base, like...
Anything within the brackets is part of the base. What is the quotient when I divide these? Are they the same base?
Yeah.
So what do I do with the exponents? Subtract. What's 12 minus 4? No. 12 minus 4. 8. -8 to the 8. Because the base never changes. Product of powers. Where does that 4 go? It goes to both. So it had to be -7 to the 4th times 3 to the 4th. Not add, because you're multiplying. C. What is anything to the 0 power? 1. What is 1 to the 3rd? 1 times 1 times 1.
Yeah.
1. B.
Oh.
Don't let that negative fool you. That is still 1. What if it was this? What's that equal? That's -1 because the negative isn't part of the base. Zach, you're a weird dude, man. Because you remember stuff like that.
What?
Stuff like that. The actual super hard stuff. That is stuck in your head, but every so often.
I don't know.
All right. Evaluate. Evaluate means you actually have to do the math, yes? By the way, are we still, did people get up to number 5? Okay, no, that's fine. That's what I wanted people to be. I'll do 5, then I'll stop, and I'll let you guys go some more. Where do I start? What is the acronym that tells me the order in which I do math? BEDMAS. What does the B stand for? Do you see some brackets? Yes. What is 3 plus 4? 7, and that 7 is squared, yes? Minus. What is 2 minus 4? No. -2, and that -2 is cubed, correct? Now what? Exponents. Do you see exponents? What is 7 squared? 49. Minus. What is -2 cubed? -2 times -2 is +4. +4 times -2 is -8. So it's 49 minus -8. Minus minus is 49 plus 8, which is 57. Okay? Okay. I'm going to shut up for a while. I'm going to pause the recording. Back to business. So, Mr. Myers sneakily called this H. It's working. Relax. See? Mr. Myers sneakily called this h, even though it's a leg. Which is the hypotenuse? This is the hypotenuse. So we know it's leg squared plus leg squared equals h squared. Leg squared, because I don't know it, plus 4 squared equals 7 squared. Leg squared plus 16 equals 49. 49 minus 16 equals leg squared. 49 minus 16 is 33 equals leg squared. What's the last step? Square root.
Which is 5.7.
5.7.
And you learned over and over that because everything else is bigger than my hypotenuse, yeah.
Determine the unknown length. Oh, Mr. Myers, this time he didn't call it A, he didn't call it B, he didn't call it C, he didn't call it H. He called it S. It's still leg squared plus leg squared equals h squared. What are the two legs? 10 squared plus 13 squared equals h squared. 100 plus 169 equals h squared. 269 equals h squared. What's the last step? Square root 16.4. Don't forget the square root. Can I go on? Do people get past number 8?
Okay, I have a question.
I have an answer.
I'm still kind of confused on number 4.
Number 4.
How is it 1?
Okay. Any base to the 0 power is 1. So, the base is negative 5. So to the 0 power, this whole thing equals 1 inside the brackets, yes?
You're not supposed to go from the 3 to the
Okay. Even if you do that, Natasha, what do you do over brackets? So what's 3 times 0? 0. So I'm still going to have negative 5 to the 0, which is still 1.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah,
No, because the negative 5 is in the brackets. Okay, I got to show you guys this, because this is causing trouble.
Are we going to use that to the top?
X over X equals what? X divided by X. Any number divided by itself, what does it equal? 1. Okay? If it's the same thing on top and bottom fraction, it's always 1, yes? So what if I have 728 over 728? 1. What if I have x to the 6th over x to the 6th? 1, because they're the same, yes? Now, are these the same base? So what do you do with the exponents when you divide? Subtract. So isn't this x to the 6 minus 6? Which is x to the 0, isn't it? And if x to the 6 over 6 is 1 and x to the 0 is over 1, what do you know about x to the 0 and 1? They're the same. So everything to the 0 is 1. Now you ask why it's not negative. Well, negative x over negative x, negative divided by negative is what? Positive 1. Okay? The negative's included in the base, yes? Okay. But in this one, that negative is not included in the base because there's no bracket. So that is negative 1. Okay? All right, back to the test, the practice test, which we got to number 8. Which are rational numbers? What is a rational number? A decimal or a fraction? Yeah. Do you see decimals and fractions?
Yeah.
That's my ringtone when Catherine phones me. She doesn't like it. What's the word? All of them. Because that's a decimal that ends, that's a fraction because it's 11 over 1, and that's a fraction. So they're all rational.
I'm smart. Smart.
Number 9. Which are negative? Did we get to number 9?
Yeah.
Okay. Look carefully. Let's check each one. There's a negative out in front here, yes?
Yeah.
Which means whatever this is, it's going to be negative, isn't it? Right? And then that negative is going to be repeated 3 times, right? So it's going to be negative times negative times negative. Negative times a negative is what?
Positive.
Times a negative is? So this guy is going to be negative. Everyone understand? Let's look at this guy. There's a negative out in front that isn't part of the base, yes?
Yeah.
So whatever this is it going to be negative? Yes, and then it's going to be negative times negative times negative again, isn't it? So negative. Now let's check this guy. This guy's a little trickier. This negative is part of the base, isn't it? So inside here, it's negative times negative times negative, yes?
Yeah.
Which would get me a negative, agreed?
Yeah.
And then that negative is 3 more times. Negative times negative times negative. So what's that guy?
Negative times
Negative,
negative.
negative, negative. He's going to be negative again, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then this guy has a negative out in front that is not touching any exponent. So no matter what happens over here, what's it always going to be? Negative. So they're all negative. Okay? Okay. That's my wife's text tone.
What's it say?
Hello, nurse! Because my wife is super hot. And when the Animaniacs see a super hot woman, they say, hello, nurse! See?
Yep.
So when my wife texts me, I go, hello, nurse! Because my wife is super hot. And I respect the Animaniacs. Subtraction. Yeah? So you're going to subtract this, right? What should you do before you do any work?
Estimate.
Estimate. That's almost 5, isn't it? Right? So this is negative 5 minus 2.5, which is almost 3, right? What's negative 5, then take away 3 more? Negative 8. Which of these is closest to negative 8? You don't even need to do the work, do you? Because it has to be negative 7, doesn't it? Right? You don't want to estimate.
But estimating is good.
Estimating is the number 1 skill you need to learn in math class. It is so much more important than actually being able to do that question.
Hello, nurse.
No texting or class.
So, the temperature at the top of the mountain is 10.5 less than the temperature at the base of the mountain. If the temperature at the base of the mountain is negative 4, what's the temperature at the top?
It should be
So it's going to be negative 4, and it's going to be lower. So is that plus or minus?
minus.
Minus 10 more.
Shouldn't it be
What's negative 4 minus 10? Negative 14. Which of these is close to negative 14?
Negative 14.
Negative 14.9. So it's B. Again, you don't even need to do the work.
Why would you wait? That's subtraction.
I know that, James. Determine this product. This is a little harder. 2 negatives are what? So it has to be positive, correct?
yeah.
So can it be B?
No.
Can it be C?
No.
Excellent. Now, let's do the math. 3 times 5? Fit E. 4 times 2? 8. Huh. Look at that. Ew, evaluate. That means we actually got to do the math, don't we? Right? What are you going to do first? This side. And you're going to get an answer, yes? So you're going to do that on your calculator. I'm going to estimate. 6 times 3 is 18, yes?
Yep.
And then I'm going to do this multiplying. Right? 1.5 times a half. Ooh, that's kind of yucky. Well, what if I go 1 times a half? 1/2. So 18 minus 1/2 would be 17.5, yeah?
Yeah, that's close to 60.
Pretty darn close to D.
And is that the fourth?
Well, let's just check, shall we?
Shall we?
5.6 times 2.8. 5.6. 0.6.
Okay.
0.6 times 2.8 minus bracket 1.4 times 0.4 close brackets equals 15.12. Dang, good thing we checked, because it was B. What is the lesson? Does estimating always work? What was the hint in this question that you needed to check it? These two are pretty darn close to each other, aren't they? If this was minus 15, would you have checked it? No. Oh, I'm sorry, because that was the right answer. If this was minus 16, would you have checked it? Of course not. She has $12.98 in her savings account. She takes out $95 a week. This is how much money is left. T is the original amount. W is the number of weeks. Determine the amount of money after 13 weeks. Where does the 13 go? A, T, or W? W. What's T? T is the original amount. How much did she start with?
1298.
Minus 95 times 13. Then you just do the math.
It was 63.
You're right, it's 63. I'm not even going to do the math, though, because isn't that about 1,300?
Yeah.
And isn't that about 100?
Yeah.
100 times 13 is 1,300. So it was 1,300 minus 1,300. So I needed the number closest to 0. D. Without even doing math. Should I stop? Okay.